Regarding your questions, the most popular question amongst you was you wanted to know about other people's experiences with PowerPoint or Prezi, especially for elementary students. That reminded me of this video from Microsoft about the little girl who was using the picture. So she is demonstrating how she plugs in the camera and she is looking for some picture. Obviously, we know that this is a commercial, and obviously we know there's a good chance that there's some really thorough training about how to do it, and possibly some things that she received assistance that we're not seeing it in camera. But what I want to show you is this may be the case for this particular video, but we have all seen young kids how they interact with technology like it's second nature. In this other video, this one actually I took myself, and it is my nephew on a bad hair day. And so he's interacting in this case with Microsoft Word. He has been trained on how to type and how to select a font color. And he's able to do it sometimes with a little bit of assistance from his mom, but he's really able to go in and select a color and then type a few letters from his very limited vocabulary at the time. Right now, he's about between 3 and 4 years old in this video. And so while there's not as much research as we would like to see about the use of PowerPoint or Prezi for elementary students, I think it's worthy of our explorations to try the technology in our classrooms with our younger students. Now, of course, there's always the issue of how early is too early. Do I want to focus on the traditional skills first before I introduce my students to the technology? Will they be able to handle this type of technological projects? Well, it is true that we need to focus on traditional skills, which are very important, but also it's important that whatever you teach them related to PowerPoint is going to accompany the rest of their lives. So that is going to be something positive for them. When it comes to their ability to handle a technological project, the one suggestion I could have is that you give them tasks that are much simpler. So instead of creating an entire presentation, perhaps they can focus on creating a slide that incorporates, say, a picture and some text. And so they can create it together, they can share it with their classmates. That would be a good project to try, and perhaps it can turn into an action research project for you to share with the community of teachers of elementary grades. Another question you have, of course, is related to the use of PowerPoint and Prezi at Success. Do we do it enough? Is it effective? Is it positive? You also asked about your classmates' preferences between PowerPoint and Prezi. I have been a long-term user of PowerPoint, and the very first time that I saw Prezi a few years back, I swore that I was going to learn how to use that cool tool. Still haven't gotten around to really play with it a lot, let alone creating a presentation with it. The main issue that I keep hearing over and over again is how the people who gets dizzy when they look at these kinds of things, it's definitely not a pleasant experience for them. So that would be the only concern, to try to play with the features of the tool so that you do not do too much zooming in and out. Now, the one thing I want to say is that for this type of project, like the Sprint presentation, I think the capability of Sprint to show us not only the big picture, but also the details and at any time you can come back to the big picture. I think it's very useful, and it's what makes it stand apart from PowerPoint. In PowerPoint, you don't have this kind of functionality. You would have to create it manually. Here, you can cycle between the big picture and the little details more easily. You also asked about drawbacks of PowerPoint or negative experiences or situations in which you realized that PowerPoint wasn't necessarily the best option or was not well received by the students. And last but not least, this wasn't a popular question, but it was something that stood up for me, and I'm going to tell you why. If you search online for the phrase death by PowerPoint, you'll find a ton of images that present jokes about this particular issue. So that is what came to mind when I saw some of you asking about the possibility of trying to avoid as much as possible the use of PowerPoint just to lecture students one screen after the next, including only things that people could have just gone and read by themselves.